I was born in the north of Transylvania. I know you want to hear more of the wild man or Bigfoot. What is it with people and monsters? So, Transylvania, the land of legendary monsters like this and vampires. And also giants. I was born in the 80s, in Generation X, you know. Internet not yet popular, porn magazines in every newspaper boutique, music videos with half-naked women just becoming popular, religion and decency still strong in society, all to contrast with the promised coming of democracy.
Hey everyone, let's talk about something that's had a massive impact on society: pornography. Now, right off the bat, it's important to acknowledge that this topic can be sensitive for some. So, viewer discretion is advised. Porn has been around for centuries, but it really began to explode with the advent of the internet. Before the digital age, access to porn was limited to magazines, VHS tapes, and late-night TV. But the internet changed everything. Suddenly, explicit content was just a click away, anytime, anywhere. This easy access has had a huge impact on society. On one hand, it's been argued that porn provides a safe outlet for sexual expression and exploration. So, it's also been credited with helping to break down taboos and promote sexual freedom, but there's a darker side too. Critics point out that excessive consumption can lead to addiction, distorted views on sex, and unrealistic expectations in relationships. There are also serious concerns about the exploitation and objectification of performers, particularly women. The porn industry itself has evolved massively. It's now a multi-billion-pound global business with major studios, amateur creators, and everything in between. Technology continues to push boundaries with virtual reality and interactive content, making the experience ever more immersive. Society's reaction to porn is complex. Some countries have strict regulations, while others take a more liberal approach. Debates rage on about censorship, consent, and the impact on mental health. So how has porn changed society forever? It's opened up conversations about sex and sexuality, challenged norms, and influenced media and pop culture. But it's also brought significant challenges and ethical questions that we're still grappling with today.
Those legendary monsters are not popular anymore in Romania and were replaced by the new monsters today, us. I was 9 when democracy and liberalism struck Romania and people couldn't be happier. Even the witches in Romania were basically in panic. This liberalism and democracy only evolved in time in Romania, reaching a new height in society that us, the Gen X, wonder what is going on with our children, the Gen Z today.
Riots, protests, uprising, these are the words that define Gen Z, born into a world of likes, shares, and viral trends. They're anything but passive consumers. They're angry, they're loud, and they're making their voices heard from the streets of Nairobi to the heart of Europe. This isn't your parents' protest. Gone are the days of pamphlets and peaceful marches. This is a generation armed with smartphones and fueled by a potent cocktail of online outrage, economic anxiety, and a deep-seated distrust of the powers that be. But are these acts of rebellion justified, or are we witnessing a generation unraveling before our very eyes? their minds warped by the dark side of the digital age? Are they revolutionaries fighting for a better future, or anarchists hell-bent on tearing down the system? Let's be real, the internet is a dumpster fire, a breeding ground for misinformation, hate speech, and enough conspiracy theories to make your head spin. For Gen Z who grew up online, this toxic stew isn't just entertainment, it's their reality. Algorithms designed to keep us hooked feed them a constant diet of outrage. Clickbait headlines scream about injustice, corruption, and impending doom. It's no wonder they're angry. They're being told to be angry every single day. But it's not just the content itself, it's the echo chamber effect. Surrounded by like-minded individuals online, their beliefs, no matter how extreme, are constantly reinforced. Dissent is silenced, critical thinking is abandoned, and nuance is lost in a sea of angry emojis and all-caps rants. So where are the parents in all of this? Good question. Many Gen Zers are the children of the digital immigrants, the ones who still struggle to set up a Zoom call, let alone navigate the treacherous landscape of online extremism. Overwhelmed by the pace of technological change, many parents have abdicated their responsibility. They've become bystanders in their own children's digital lives, too busy, too trusting, or too clueless to see the damage being done right under their noses. This lack of guidance leaves Gen Z vulnerable to online predators, both literal and metaphorical. They're easy prey for extremist groups, political manipulators, and anyone else looking to exploit their anger and idealism for their own gain. The consequences of this digital disengagement are playing out on the streets of Europe. Fueled by online misinformation and manipulated by shadowy actors with hidden agendas, young people are rising up in protest, often with devastating consequences. In France, rumors spread like wildfire on social media, claiming that a young man had been brutally murdered by police. The reality, a tragic accident, twisted and distorted to fit a pre-existing narrative of police brutality. The result, days of rioting, looting and arson that left entire neighborhoods in ruins. This isn't an isolated incident. Across Europe, we're seeing similar patterns emerge. Fake news spreads, anger ignites, and young people, primed for outrage, are all too easily manipulated into acts of violence and destruction. Section 5, Kenya's Digital Uprising, a case study in 21st century protest. But it's not just Europe. In 2024, Kenya became a cautionary tale of the power and peril of youth-led digital activism. Fed up with corruption, unemployment, and a skyrocketing cost of living, young Kenyans took to the streets, using social media to organize and mobilize with unprecedented speed and efficiency. The hashtag #RejectFinanceBill 2024 became a rallying cry, uniting a generation disillusioned by empty promises and a system that seemed rigged against them. They used Twitter to spread information, TikTok to share stories of government brutality, and encrypted messaging apps to coordinate their movements. The Kenyan government, caught off guard by the speed and ferocity of the protests, responded with a brutal crackdown. Dozens were killed, hundreds injured, and the internet was shut down in a desperate attempt to quell the unrest. But the genie was out of the bottle. The protests may have been silenced, but the anger remained. More than memes, the socio-economic roots of discontent. It's tempting to dismiss these uprisings as the product of online brainwashing. But to do so would be a mistake. Yes, the internet is a powerful tool for manipulation, but it's not the root of the problem. It merely amplifies pre-existing tensions and provides a platform for grievances to find an audience. The reality is that Gen Z is facing an unprecedented set of challenges. Climate change, economic inequality, political polarization. They're inheriting a world on the brink, and they know it. Is it any wonder they're angry? In many ways, their anger is entirely rational. They're being sold a future that's looking increasingly bleak, and they're being asked to foot the bill for the mistakes of previous generations. The algorithms of anger, social media's role in fan the flames. But let's not let social media companies off the hook. They've created the algorithms that prioritize engagement over accuracy, outrage over nuance. They've built platforms that profit from division and polarization, and they've done it all while hiding behind the convenient excuse of free speech. It's time to hold these companies accountable for the role they play in shaping our reality. We need stricter regulations, greater transparency, and a fundamental rethink of how these platforms are designed and operated. But it's not just about regulation. We need media literacy programs that teach young people how to critically evaluate online information. We need to equip them with the tools to spot fake news, identify bias, and engage in respectful debate. Bridging the gap, a path forward for Gen Z and beyond. It's easy to look at this generation and feel a sense of despair, but amidst the anger and the chaos, there's also hope. Gen Z is the most diverse, most connected, and most tech-savvy generation in history. They have the potential to create real and lasting change. But for that to happen, we need to bridge the gap. We need to listen to their concerns, validate their anger, and work together to find solutions. We need to create a world where their voices are heard, not silenced, and where their energy is channeled into constructive action, not destructive rage. This isn't just about Gen Z. It's about the future of our planet and the kind of world we want to leave behind for generations to come. Conclusion. A generation at the crossroads. Gen Z stands at a crossroads. They can choose the path of anger, division, and destruction, or they can choose the path of hope, unity, and progress. The choice is theirs, but the responsibility is ours. We owe it to them, and we owe it to ourselves, to create a world where they have the opportunity to reach their full potential. The question is, are we up to the challenge?
Romania, a land of stunning landscapes and vibrant traditions. For centuries, Romania has preserved its unique culture. Folk music, colorful costumes, and ancient customs, these were sources of pride. They connected generations. They told stories of resilience and creativity. Today, these traditions are at risk. Modernization is sweeping through Romania. It brings progress, but also challenges. Younger generations are drawn to global trends. Often, they neglect their own heritage. The rich tapestry of Romanian culture is fading. The cultural shift in Romania is alarming. Traditional values are eroding. These values have been the foundation of Romanian society: respect for the elderly, strong family ties, a deep connection with nature. These are being replaced by individualism and consumerism. This change affects daily life. Respect for authority is declining. Family structures are weakening. There is a growing disconnection between generations. The consequences are visible. They manifest through social unrest and a decline in civic engagement. Music reflects cultural change. In Romania, traditional folk music is marginalized. In its place, genres like manea and trap emerge. Manea is often criticized for its repetitive rhythms and superficial lyrics. It glorifies wealth and hedonism. This is in contrast to traditional Romanian values. Trap music, with its often violent themes, is also gaining ground. This genre originates from the American hip-hop scene. It is in dissonance with Romania's cultural roots. The popularity of these genres is a symptom of a deeper cultural malaise. Part 4. The digital abyss. The internet amplifies these tendencies. Romania has embraced the digital age, but this also has a dark side. Immoral, indecent, and violent content proliferates online. Young minds are particularly vulnerable. They are exposed to a constant barrage of harmful materials. This exposure has real-world consequences. It normalizes violence and degrades moral standards. It desensitizes young people to suffering. The internet, once a beacon of progress, contributes to the cultural decline of Romania. Part 5. Hope for renewal. The situation is concerning, but not without hope. Romanians need to rediscover their heritage. Promoting traditional arts and crafts is crucial, as is supporting folk music and dance ensembles. Education is essential, like religion. Schools should include cultural education in their curriculum. Romania's rich history and traditions should be celebrated. This will foster a sense of national pride. It will help preserve Romania's unique cultural identity for future generations.
And so, let us get to the English Christmas spirit today. It's amazing how far society evolved to this day and how advanced we are here in England. People went great lengths to make sure every corner of civilization is up to date.
Jeans, like a polo, and it looks as if they're trying to like dress the same. Oh my god, she just no.
I don't know, like
City's like so vibey, you can't buy that stuff, you know, like. But that's not what he wants. But like, I don't understand.
I don't understand it either.
I'm amazed where people took language today. So from my generation on, we are all the product of modernity. Meaning from the amount of people I know or carried around here in England in my 8-year experience as taxi driver, it's safe to say that half of them are either not married, separated, already with children, of course, or will never marry.
Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving deep into the dark side of modern England, infidelity and immorality. It's a topic we often shy away from, but one that's become unsettlingly prevalent in our society. In recent years, extramarital affairs have skyrocketed, fueled by dating apps and social media. These platforms have made it easier than ever to engage in secretive relationships, leading to a rise in broken homes and shattered trust. But it's not just the ease of access that's alarming, it's the normalization. TV shows, movies, music, even advertisements. They often glamorize cheating, making it seem almost acceptable. This shift in cultural norms has profound effects on our moral fabric. Let's talk numbers. Recent studies reveal that nearly 1 in 5 married individuals in England admits to infidelity. And that's just those who own up to it. The real figures could be much higher. The fallout, devastating. Families torn apart, children caught in the crossfire, and a society grappling with eroding values. But why is this happening? Experts suggest a mix of factors, from the constant search for instant gratification to a growing disconnect in personal relationships, the pressures of modern life, financial stress, work demands. They all play a role. What's the way forward then? It starts with us, reevaluating our priorities, fostering open communication, and reinforcing the importance of trust and loyalty. It's about building stronger, more resilient relationships. So let's ask ourselves, are we happy with this trajectory? And if not, what are we willing to do to change it? Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves and each other.
Is it internet and technology that makes us so superficial and ignorant today? I mean, look at how we dress today.
Fashion, once a vibrant tapestry of expression, seems to be fading. Where there was once a sense of occasion, a celebration of individuality through carefully chosen garments, there now exists a sea of sameness. Have we lost our way in the sartorial wilderness? Have we traded elegance for ease, style for stretchy pants? The evidence of this stylistic decline is all around us. Walk down any street and you will be greeted by a parade of athleisure wear, ill-fitting jeans and graphic tees. While comfort is important, it appears we have sacrificed artistry and creativity at the altar of comfort. We've forgotten the power of a well-tailored suit, the allure of a perfectly draped dress. Perhaps this shift is a reflection of our times. In a world saturated with information and overwhelmed by choice, have we become indifferent to the power of personal style? When every day feels like a casual Friday, it's easy to let the effort of dressing well fall by the wayside. There's a pervasive sense that fashion doesn't matter as much anymore, that it's frivolous in the face of global issues and personal struggles. Yet, I firmly believe that how we present ourselves to the world speaks volumes about who we are and what we value. Another factor contributing to this stylistic shift is the increasing prevalence of weight issues. With more people struggling with their body image, fashion has trended towards loose-fitting, shapeless clothing that masks rather than accentuates the human form. While I understand the desire for comfort and the need to feel confident in one's skin, I worry that we are sacrificing style for the sake of hiding our bodies. There's a difference between dressing for your body type and disappearing beneath fabric. This brings us to the pervasive trend of effortless chic that seems to dominate contemporary fashion. While there is something to be said for looking effortlessly put together, this aesthetic has morphed into an excuse for sloppiness. True style is not effortless. It requires thought, intention, and a discerning eye. It's about understanding your body, knowing what looks good on you, and taking the time to put together an outfit that makes you feel confident and radiant.
No, we are our own antagonist. There isn't anybody else we can blame. We alone decided to forget about religion and decency, values and style. The practice of religion was never a nice experience in Romania when you look how it is presented to people by the ones appointed to do so. In England, though, the mass songs are much nicer this time than Romania. But still, people prefer the new idols, the new pop and trap heroes.
Europe, once the heartland of Christendom, is undergoing a profound transformation. The continent that birthed the Renaissance and the Reformation is now witnessing the twilight of faith. Since the latter half of the 20th century, a steady and pervasive decline in religious belief and practice has swept across Europe, leaving its mark on the very fabric of society. This decline, particularly pronounced in Western Europe, is reshaping not just individual lives, but also social norms, political ideologies, and the very soul of a continent. The decline is not merely anecdotal, it is starkly evident in the dwindling numbers of churchgoers and the increasing indifference, even hostility, towards organized religion. The hallowed halls of Europe's grand cathedrals, once teeming with the devout, now often echo with emptiness, their pews sparsely populated. This shift away from religion, particularly from Christianity, represents one of the most significant cultural transformations in modern European history. This decline is not a sudden phenomenon, but rather the culmination of long-term social and cultural shifts. The Enlightenment, with its emphasis on reason and empirical evidence, planted the seeds of doubt in traditional religious authority. The Industrial Revolution, urbanization, and the rise of scientific thought further eroded the influence of the Church. Today, in a world increasingly dominated by technology, materialism, and individualism, traditional religion seems to have lost its appeal for many Europeans. The consequences of this religious decline are far-reaching, with implications for everything from personal morality and family structures to political ideologies and social cohesion. As Europe navigates this uncharted territory of secularization, it grapples with fundamental questions about identity, values, and the very meaning of life in a world seemingly devoid of the divine. This essay will delve into the extent of religious decline in Europe, exploring its societal impact, regional variations, and potential long-term consequences. The decline of religion in Europe is not merely a subjective observation, it is statistically undeniable. Data paints a stark picture of a continent rapidly embracing secularism. Recent surveys and polls reveal the extent to which religious belief, particularly belief in God, has dwindled across Europe, especially in the West. According to a 2025 study, a staggering 80 to 90% of Europeans do not believe in God. This represents a dramatic shift from just a few decades ago, highlighting the speed and scale of secularization. Furthermore, while many Europeans may have been baptized Christian, the majority no longer actively practice their faith or even identify as Christian. Non-practicing Christians now significantly outnumber actively practicing ones in most Western European nations. For instance, in countries like the United Kingdom and Spain, practicing Christians constitute a small minority. Even in traditionally Catholic strongholds like Italy, Ireland, and Portugal, where approximately 80% of the population identifies as Christian, actual religious practice is significantly lower. This suggests that religious affiliation, often inherited rather than chosen, does not necessarily translate into genuine belief or active participation in religious life. The decline is not limited to traditionally Christian nations. Even countries with official state religions are experiencing a surge in secularism. This indicates that the decline in religious belief is a broader cultural trend, not confined to any specific denomination or even religion. This widespread abandonment of faith has led some scholars to label Western Europe as one of the most secular regions globally. The decline of religious belief in Europe has ignited a fierce debate about its societal consequences. One of the most pressing concerns is the perceived rise of moral relativism. As traditional religious frameworks, which once provided clear moral guidelines, lose their hold, many fear that society is drifting towards a state of ethical ambiguity. This concern is particularly acute among those who view religious belief as the bedrock of morality. Without the absolute moral authority of God, the argument goes, individuals are left rudderless in a sea of moral uncertainty, free to determine their own values without any external constraints. This, some argue, can lead to a sense that anything goes, eroding the very foundations of right and wrong. This lack of a shared moral code is seen as a threat to social cohesion and stability. Critics of this view argue that morality is not solely dependent on religious belief. They point to the existence of secular ethical systems, such as humanism, which provide a framework for ethical decision-making based on reason, empathy, and a shared humanity, rather than divine command. They argue that a decline in religious belief does not necessarily equate to a decline in morality. Furthermore, they contend that traditional religious morality has often been used to justify oppression and discrimination. The historical record of religious institutions is replete with examples of intolerance, persecution, and violence. They argue that a more secular society, free from the dogma and hierarchy of organized religion, has the potential to be more tolerant, compassionate, and just. While the decline of religious belief might suggest a more tolerant and inclusive society, studies reveal a more complex picture. Surprisingly, non-practicing Christians, while less so than their practicing counterparts, still exhibit higher levels of nationalism and harbor more negative views towards immigrants and religious minorities compared to those who identify as religiously unaffiliated. This finding presents a paradox. Why would those who have abandoned religious faith still cling to national and cultural identities, often associated with exclusionary attitudes? Several factors might contribute to this phenomenon. Firstly, national identity, often rooted in shared history, language, and culture, can provide a sense of belonging and purpose, particularly in a world where traditional religious frameworks are losing their influence. This is especially relevant in Europe, where national identities are often deeply intertwined with historical narratives. Secondly, the decline of traditional communities and institutions, including religious ones, has created a void that some individuals fill with nationalism. In an increasingly globalized and interconnected world, where traditional sources of identity are weakening, national identity can provide a sense of stability and continuity. Thirdly, economic anxieties and fears about cultural change, often fueled by anti-immigration rhetoric, can push individuals towards nationalist sentiments. This is exacerbated by the perception, whether accurate or not, that immigrants are competing for jobs, resources, and even cultural dominance. This sense of threat can lead to a defensive posture, reinforcing national and cultural boundaries.
So now we can get to a topic which always influenced greatly society, music. I myself coming from a time when music was still art in part. Nowadays I'd say that much less of it can be called art.
Music has always been a mirror to society. It reflects our values, our struggles, and our desires. From the protest songs of the 60s to the hip-hop anthems of the 90s, music has captured the zeitgeist of each generation. However, in recent years, there's been a noticeable shift in the lyrical landscape of popular music. Themes of love and heartbreak, once central to the human experience in song, are being overshadowed by something arguably more primal, sex. It's not that music hasn't always explored themes of love, desire, and intimacy. The blues, jazz, and even rock and roll pushed boundaries and celebrated sensuality. But the current trend feels different. The focus has shifted from romantic love to explicit sexual content. Subtlety and metaphor, once powerful tools of lyrical seduction, have given way to a bluntness that leaves little to the imagination. This shift in musical content raises important questions about our evolving values and the messages being absorbed, particularly by younger generations. Are we witnessing a new era of sexual liberation or the normalization of a hypersexualized culture? And what does this mean for the future of music as a form of artistic expression? It's no secret that sex sells. It's a marketing tactic as old as time, and the music industry is no stranger to using it. In today's digital age, where attention spans are fleeting and competition is fierce, artists and producers are constantly seeking ways to stand out. Provocative lyrics, suggestive music videos, and hypersexualized performances have become the norm, pushing the boundaries of what's considered acceptable. Take, for example, the meteoric rise of artists like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Their music, unapologetically explicit and celebrating female sexual empowerment, has dominated the charts and sparked conversations about female sexuality and agency in a patriarchal society. Similarly, male artists like The Weeknd and Post Malone have achieved massive success with songs that explore themes of lust, desire, and casual relationships. This trend isn't limited to a specific genre either. From pop to hip-hop to R&B, sexually charged lyrics have become almost ubiquitous. permeating the airwaves and dominating streaming playlists. While some argue that this reflects a more open and accepting society, others worry about the potential consequences, particularly for young and impressionable listeners. The pervasiveness of sexual themes in popular music has sparked a debate about its impact on society, particularly on young people. Critics argue that the constant bombardment of hypersexualized imagery and lyrics contributes to the objectification of women and the normalization of casual sex, potentially leading to unrealistic expectations and a distorted view of healthy relationships. On the other hand, proponents of this trend see it as a form of liberation, breaking down taboos and encouraging open dialogue about sexuality. They argue that artists like Lizzo and Lil Nas X, who celebrate body positivity and challenge traditional gender norms, are using their platform to promote self-love and acceptance. The reality is likely more nuanced. Music, like any form of art, is a reflection of the society it springs from. It both shapes and is shaped by the cultural landscape. While it's important to acknowledge the potential negative influences, it's also crucial to recognize that music can be a powerful tool for empowerment, self-expression, and challenging societal norms. The trend of increasingly sexualized music is a complex issue with no easy answers. It's a reflection of our changing societal values, the influence of media and technology, and the ever-evolving dynamics of the music industry itself. While there's no denying the potential for negative consequences, particularly for young people, it's also important to recognize the potential for positive change and the importance of open dialogue about sexuality. Perhaps the most crucial aspect is encouraging media literacy. Teaching young people to critically engage with the music they consume, to understand the messages being conveyed, and to form their own opinions is essential. Music can be a powerful force for good, but it's up to us to ensure that it's used responsibly and that its potential is harnessed for positive change.
Does anybody know what art is anymore? Some will say, come on man, it's modern art. Does anybody care about this modern art today, really?
Classical art continues to captivate audiences in the 21st century. Its timeless appeal lies in its ability to transcend time and cultural barriers. People from all walks of life find solace and inspiration in its beauty. The masterful techniques and profound themes explored by classical artists resonate deeply with viewers even today. Classical art serves as a testament to the ingenuity and creativity of the human spirit. It reminds us of the rich artistic heritage passed down through generations. In a world often characterized by rapid change and technological advancements, classical art provides a sense of continuity and tradition. Classical art is distinguished by its emphasis on realism, proportion, and perspective. Artists sought to depict the world as accurately as possible. They employed mathematical principles to achieve perfect balance and harmony in their compositions. The use of perspective created a sense of depth and three-dimensionality in paintings. Classical artists were masters of light and shadow, using these elements to create a sense of volume and realism. Their meticulous attention to detail and technical skill resulted in works of extraordinary beauty and precision. The Renaissance period witnessed a resurgence of interest in classical art. Painters like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo produced some of the most iconic works of art in history. Da Vinci's Mona Lisa is renowned for its enigmatic smile and masterful sfumato technique. Michelangelo's David is a testament to the human form and the artist's unparalleled skill in sculpture. Ancient Greece also produced a wealth of classical masterpieces. Greek sculptures such as the Venus de Milo and the Laocoon and his sons are celebrated for their beauty, realism, and emotional intensity. These works reflect the Greek ideals of beauty, harmony, and balance. The late 19th and early 20th centuries witnessed a dramatic shift in the art world with the emergence of modern art movements. Impressionism, with its emphasis on capturing fleeting moments of light and color, challenged the traditional norms of realism. Cubism, pioneered by artists like Pablo Picasso and Georges Braque, fragmented objects and reassembled them in abstract forms. Abstract expressionism, which emerged in the aftermath of World War II, emphasized spontaneous gestures and emotional expression. Artists like Jackson Pollock and Mark Rothko created abstract works that were open to interpretation. These modern art movements revolutionized the art world, challenging traditional notions of beauty and representation. Christmas today is a global spectacle. Families gather for feasts and gift-giving. Children eagerly await Santa Claus. Twinkling lights and decorations adorn homes and streets. The aroma of roasted turkey and cinnamon fills the air. Christmas carols play endlessly on the radio. Shopping centers are bustling with last-minute shoppers. Modern Christmas is a vibrant, joyous occasion celebrated by millions. Christmas celebrates the birth of Jesus Christ. Early Christians marked this day with solemn religious services. Gift-giving stemmed from the story of the three wise men. They offered gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh to the newborn Jesus. The Christmas tree tradition originated in 16th century Germany. Over time, these customs spread and evolved, blending with local traditions. Modern Christmas celebrations differ from their historical origins. While religion remains central for some, many focus on secular aspects. Gift-giving has transformed into a large-scale exchange of presents. Feasts are more lavish, often featuring elaborate dishes. Santa Claus, a mythical figure, plays a significant role in modern celebrations. The focus on family gatherings and merriment remains a connecting thread. Commercialization has undeniably impacted Christmas. Businesses capitalize on the festive spirit, pushing sales and promotions. This has led to excessive consumerism and a focus on material possessions. However, commercialization has also brought positive aspects. It has made celebrations more accessible and affordable for many. Ultimately, the spirit of Christmas lies in generosity, kindness, and goodwill towards all.
I was into electronic music production, and then I decided to give my life to cinema and leave behind me art that will endure and be valuable for generations to come. What generations to come? Looking at us today and actually thinking with my mind, like much more of us should, I'm pressed to say that even these weak standards remaining today will wane and society will go into a state of you decide what. But hey, I won't give up, you know. I'll do it for myself and strangers who choose to be better every day and preserve values that made us civilized, decent and human. What are we on this planet if we don't make it better?